Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting of February 23rd, 2015. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll take the roll. Mr. Battanti?
Here.
Mr. Brado?
Here.
Mr. Caprell?
Here.
Mr. Tominello?
Here.
Mr. York is asked to be excused. Mr. Witt here. Mr. Verkest is also asked to be excused. Due to Mr. Verkest's excused absence, we need a motion to appoint an acting chairperson for the meeting.
Make a motion to appoint Mr. Adam Witt as the acting chairperson for tonight's meeting.
Support.
Any board comment? Hearing no board comment, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, board. Next up is the approval of the regular, approval of the consent agenda, including the regular board meeting minutes of February 9th, 2015. Approval of the bills in the amount of $1,282,881.03. And approval of the January 2015 revenue and expenditures report.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the bills in the amount of $1,282,881.03.
Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Tominello, supported by Mr. Battanti, to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next is the approval of the regular agenda. I didn't hear of any changes or additions to the agenda, so I guess I'd be looking for a motion to approve the regular agenda as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Caprell,
Support.
supported by Mr. Brado. Is there any comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is announcements. I did get a couple passed on from the supervisor's office. The 2015 HCMA passes for Lake St. Clair Metro Park are available for sale to township residents in the treasurer's office. Passes are $24, and this year we also have senior passes for $20. This week on Thursday, February 26th, from 6:15 to 8:30 here in Rosso Hall, MSU Extension and the Macomb County Health Department will be hosting a workshop on septic systems. The event's free, but pre-registration is requested due to limited seating. For more information, you can call 586-469-6440. L'Anse Creuse High School band boosters are going to be presenting Taste of the Town on Monday, March 2nd, 2015 from 6 to 9 p.m. Tickets are $20 at the door or $70 at the door for a pack of 4. They're looking for your support for the band and a fun-filled evening. For more information on these events and any other township events, you can contact the supervisor's office or you can visit the township website at harrison-township.org. Is there any other announcements? Moving on, we have the introduction of an ordinance to amend Chapter 14, Article 2 and 3 to provide authority to the Macomb County Animal Control Officer to enforce the provisions of the articles and to issue misdemeanor appearance tickets pertaining to animals in the township, and including for the repealer, severability penalties, and effective date of the ordinance. The Chief Animal Control Officer from Macomb County has requested of us, as well as neighboring communities, to amend our ordinances to give the Macomb County Animal Control Officers clearer authority to issue citations in accordance with our local animal ordinances. The Township Attorney has prepared this ordinance for board consideration, and it would allow the Animal Control Officer to address issues such as pet limit, nuisance animals, animals prohibited, barking dogs, vicious dogs, or any of the other local ordinances not covered specifically by the state law. So tonight, we'd be looking for a motion to introduce that ordinance.
Mr. Chairman, just a few questions
Sure.
on the ordinance. So, just so I'm clear, currently, I know we have a animal control ordinance, in place that's basically managed by our own internal, ordinance officers.
Yeah, the biggest change in the ordinance, and Mr. Huth could correct me if I'm wrong, is it just adds the Macomb County Animal Control Officer as an enforcement officer of our ordinance.
So that leads me to ask the question, if in fact we have any issues, do we call Harrison Township, or do we call, Macomb County?
Mr. Huth?
What I've seen as a practical matter, if it's something that's during business hours and the type that Harrison Township can handle, we will respond. But oftentimes it's, some sort of situation that we're not equipped for, so
Yeah,
we get the
Yeah,
county
and
involved.
that's where I'm having an issue, because I don't know if our officers are really, I guess, let's say, versed in managing. I mean, if somebody says a dog's barking, they can come out. Typically, the dog's not barking when they come out. I just want to make sure, so I don't know how much experience our ordinance officers have enforcing this. So I guess the thing is, does this allow residents the ability to call Macomb County directly at any time? Because I believe this is a 24/7 number, is that correct?
Right, and just an example I've seen in another community where yes, you're right, the officers can write barking dogs, but the issue somewhere else was it had threatening dogs, 3 of them that were, I forget the name of the dog that's everyone's concerned about. but
Pit
anyway.
bull?
Pit bull, exactly, hopping over the fence.
Sure.
So the local community just could not handle that, and then the county said they couldn't handle it because there was not a provision for them here, so that's the type of situation that we
And I could tell you from a practical standpoint in the offices, I mean, we address things that are within our ability, but there are a specialization there that are beyond our scope, and we have ran into issues where we've referred it, and, they've said, oh, for whatever reason, they can't do something, so.
Sure, and I'm okay with that. I guess I'm one thing I like about this ordinance is it allows residents to be able to call 24/7. A lot of times, these things with animals don't take place until the weekend, so, they'll be able to call, and so I think this is a good thing for the township. Now, this is a regulatory ordinance as well? Is this gonna be regulatory ordinance?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Is there any other questions, or is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to introduce an ordinance to amend Article 14, Chapter 14, Article 2 and 3 to provide authority to a Macomb County Animal Control Officer to enforce provisions of the articles and to issue misdemeanor appearance tickets pertaining to animals in the township. Do we need remainder read in?
Yeah,
For repealer severability penalties and effective date, and to publish a notice of introduction at the Charter Township of Harrison, and that the full text may be reviewed in the clerk's office during business hours.
Support.
A motion by Mr. Batanti, seconded by Mr. Tominello. Is there any other board comment? Otherwise, I'll open the floor to public comment.
Jim Senstock, 31698 CN1. You indicated, Mr. Tominello indicated that this was 24/7. I don't see that in the paperwork anywhere, so I was wondering how we're basing that. When I deal with the Macomb County Animal Shelter, they're pretty limited on their hours also. So do they maintain a 24/7 officer to go out during the evening? I don't know. The other question I have is, if the Macomb County Animal Shelter officer issues the ticket or misdemeanor, how does that affect our the fines and costs and so on that are levied? Do they get it? Do we get it when it goes in front of the judge? There's, a lot of times when they write an ordinance violation under our ordinances, we get the money, the percentage that they get. But now if they write it based on our ordinance, are they going to get the money? I'd like to have that answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other public comment, we'll close the floor to public comment. And Mr. Huth, can you address that question?
Yeah, both of them, actually, the way the animal control department I've seen be involved beyond the regular hours that you expect a business to be open is when the call is made to the sheriff's department and they need to follow up, they get a hold of whoever it is, and it may be that they're on call and a resident can't call them directly, but the sheriff department may. And then secondly, under this change in the ordinance, the fines collected for these violations would stay with the township. Even though they're being written by a Macomb County Animal Control Officer, it'd be just like a Macomb County deputy writing a ticket under our ordinance, and we'd have the same arrangement.
Thank you. Is there any other board comment? Hearing none?
Oh, Adam,
I'm
let me ask
sorry.
a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess that raises a point. I mean, will there be something that's in our website that would advise residents as to how this might work?
Yeah, we do have the animal control number on there. This really isn't any change in our operations. I think there was something that the animal control, maybe it was a change in the officer, but they've sort of looked at it and said, we don't have the authority that maybe we thought we had to go and clean some of this stuff up or to address these issues. So they're working with the communities to make sure they're working
I
within the
see.
scope of
Okay.
their authority.
Right.
So I don't think it's really a change, but we can make sure that we have something up on the website that says,
Right.
after hours, contact the sheriff's office.
I think
for-
that would be a good idea.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hearing no other board comment, we have a motion by Mr. Battanti, seconded by Mr. Tominello, to introduce an ordinance to amend Chapter 14, Article 2 and 3, to provide authority to a Macomb County Animal Control Officer to enforce the provisions of the articles, and to issue misdemeanor appearance tickets pertaining to animals in the township for repealer, severability, penalties, and effective date, and to publish a notice introduction at the Charter Township of Harrison, and that the full text may be reviewed in the clerk's office during business hours, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. We'll take a roll call. Mr. Battanti?
Yes.
Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mr. York is excused. Mr. Witt, yes. Mr. Verkest is excused. Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have item C1, which is a resolution honoring Mr. William Folk, who is served on the Planning Commission for us. Last meeting, we accepted his resignation. So I'll read the resolution. At a regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees for the Charter Township of Harrison on Monday, February 23rd, 2015, the following resolution was adopted. Whereas William Folk has given distinguished service to Harrison Township, and whereas William Folk volunteered his time to serve the township as a member of the Planning Commission as vice chair, and whereas William Folk always sought to advance his skills for the betterment of Harrison Township, taking classes that would expand his knowledge as a member of the Planning Commission, and whereas William Folk has shown himself to be a dedicated representative of the local community through his commitment and service to the Planning Commission, now therefore be it resolved that on behalf of the residents of Harrison Township, the Board of Trustees wishes to thank William Folk for his service to the community and to wish him long life and happiness. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Tominello, seconded by Mr. Capel to adopt the resolution. Is there any board comment or public comment?
I just want to thank Mr. Folk publicly for his years of service on the Planning Commission. He was an integral part of the Planning Commission. He'll surely be missed. So I wish him well, and like I say, we're going to miss him. So, thank you.
Thank you. Open the floor for public comment.
Yeah, William Bardell, 18-year. I'd like to take my hat off to Mr. Folk for his service to the township, his knowledge, and he's been a class act since I've known him, and I appreciate his knowledge and his skill on the Planning Commission, and I wish him well in his future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further public comment, we'll come back to the board. We need a roll call vote on the resolution. Mr. Tominello?
Yes.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mr. Battanti?
Yes.
Mr. Brado?
Yes.
Mr. York is excused. Mr. Witt, yes. Mr. Verkest is excused. Resolution is adopted. That's the last item on our agenda. We'll open the floor for public comments. Seeing
God, I can't miss a chance. Jim Senstock, 31698 San Juan. Currently, the township, or recently, the township was involved in a lawsuit with individual that worked in the building department, Aaron Hardcastle. And I've been kind of following that on the court website, and it indicates that that case has been, the arbitration or whatever award has been accepted, and it's been closed. And I guess the question I'm asking is, when has that ever come in front of this board and been voted on, or has it come in front of this board? And if not, why not? My understanding is that while the attorney might have discretion to tentatively agree to something, he needs to have the board say yes. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to me that the township residents should understand just exactly how that lawsuit ended up. Did she get her job back? Did she qualify for a pension? Is she retiring? Did she lose? I think the township needs to know, because that lawsuit, in conjunction with a lot of other lawsuits, is the reason we ended up with the $50,000 increase in our insurance bill. And so I'm asking the question right now is, what happened on that case? Are you planning on bringing it back? And if so, on what basis are you planning on bringing it back to this board, since it's already indicated in the court records that it's closed? Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other public comments, we'll move now to board comments. I don't know the answer to your question, but I'm sure that at some point I could be happy to bring an update at a future date, but right now I don't have that answer, so.
What I can add is, I was not counsel on that. I saw what Mr. Senstock referenced. Both sides accepted case evaluation award, so that's a trigger that ends a lawsuit. So I know that much has happened. The other details I don't know, but I would say more likely than that, it's all public, would be public information, so we can respond, but I don't know the answer to the questions.
Yeah, I haven't seen the anything final from that. I know what Mr. Huth knows, and that was sort of the extent of that, so. Is there any other board comment? Hearing none, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
A motion by Mr. Batanti,
Support.
supported by Mr. Capral to adjourn at 7:24. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.